The Mets had a good win last night, and that makes a lot of Mets fans especially happy. One of them in particular, Heather Quinlan, is a huge fan, a New York native, a lifelong Mets fan, and now working on a documentary profiling one of the biggest years in the team's history, of course, 1986. We'll speak with Heather in just a second, but first, let's take a look.
2 out, 3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. Can you believe this ball game is Shea?
Hard to believe this was almost 30 years ago.
Attention.
It's been a tough ride for Mets fans, you loyal bunch.
Well, we are loyal. I think, one of the things that I've learned from my own experience and from interviewing other fans and players is that we're in it for the long haul. We're really committed to the team no matter what.
And the documentary that you're working on now is called 86 Mets, the movie. It's for release in 2016 to mark the 30th anniversary. Tell me why you wanted to do this documentary.
Well, aside from being a Met fan and a filmmaker, I mean, it's a larger-than-life story, larger-than-life characters, epic battles, especially in the postseason. I mean, Homer could have written this himself back in, like, the ancient Greek time. And the thing about it, too, is that it was only 1 year.
I know.
And that was like really what the drama is all about too, is that it was so big and it's shown so bright, and it could only last 1 year. So
tell us a little bit, you're in the process. Tell us about some of the players you've already spoken with and some of the ones that you hope to speak to.
Well, so far I've interviewed Dwight Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, Lenny Dykstra, Kevin Mitchell, and then I also interviewed Mookie Wilson and Bill Buckner together. They do a lot of shows together, so they do a lot of appearances together too.
We have a clip from that. Let's take a listen to that.
I look forward to sitting down. We usually have time while we're signing or whatever, talking, hey, and how your girl's doing, how's your wife doing, how's it been mowing your lawn?
We have a lot more in common than I thought. I've known him casually long before 86. But since 86, we've been able to actually sit down and get to know each other. I know his family. I know about as much as his family as I know about mine. I don't think that I
What surprised you about speaking with these guys? Why did it only last the 1 year? What was the magic in 1986, do you think?
Well, I mean, there are several different answers. I think one is a dynasty isn't easy to put together. You can't just snap your fingers and voila, dynasty. But I think, there were players who were veterans who were starting to get on in years. In sports terms, they were 32 or 33. But, players who had a lot of personal problems that came to light later on that, they had been starting to build a franchise behind. And also sort of the maneuvering and stuff that happened in the offseason, which for some people they thought was for the better of the team, but maybe wasn't necessarily so.
And you also spoke with some other big fans and high-profile people, including New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. You have others coming up as well. Talk to me about some of those people.
Well, I mean, Giuliani, part of the reason people are like, why? He's a Yankee fan. Well, I do want to have some Yankee fans in the film. It can't just be a film of people like rah, 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 as much as we would like it to. But, it's interesting for him to talk about which Met players he liked, and actually his favorite player on the Mets was Darryl Strawberry. But also part of the film is about how the Mets of the 80s fit New York of the 80s, the way the Yankees of the 90s fit Giuliani's New York.
Of course. So tell me where you are in the process of this documentary, and people can get involved as well, right?
Absolutely. So I'm raising money on Kickstarter right now. The way Kickstarter works is you have to make your goal or you don't make any of the money. And the reason I went that route is because it's very 86, right? I just wanted to go all in. And, it's really pushed me to campaign for this film, to get people to know that fans want to have this film so much that they're willing to donate money. There are perks involved if you donate, and it's a way for you to get involved, and it's a way to help us make the film.
All right, wonderful. And we're hoping for another World Series win sooner rather than later.
It'll happen. You gotta believe.
You gotta believe, exactly. Heather, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And you can find a lot more about the 86 Mets, the movie, and Heather Quinlan's Kickstarter for the project. You can also find more about Heather's other projects as well. It's all on CBSNewYork.com.